Well, howdy there, Internet people. It's Dee again, and welcome to The Interstate with Dee. Today is Saturday, April 26th, 2025. Welcome back to our trip on the Interstate. What we do here is present news from the state level that will end up having national importance later, or news that made it into the national news cycle but was overshadowed. Then we go over some questions from y'all. On this date, April 26th, in 1977, the world-famous Studio 54 opened in New York. We're starting off with measles, which is up to 800 confirmed cases by the latest CDC numbers. 553 of those cases are children. 96% of confirmed cases are people who are unvaccinated. About 1 out of 5 of those under the age of 5 end up hospitalized. Okay, and on to the news. The Alabama NAACP has urged students to skip Trump's speech at the University of Alabama. Alaska's former governor, Sarah Palin, lost her libel case against the New York Times. California is now the world's 4th largest economy, overtaking Japan. Elsewhere, the toxic algae bloom is still causing major issues for marine life in the state. It is still recommended to stay away from them, particularly stay away from sea lions. Colorado is looking at a bill that would require rideshare companies to make audio and video recordings of trips. Uber says it will exit Colorado if it becomes law. In Georgia, Stacey Abrams is considering another run for the governor's office. Louisiana liquefied natural gas projects are projected to lose more than $1 billion due to Trump's tariffs. In Massachusetts, the remains of a woman found have reignited concerns of a serial killer in New England states of Connecticut, Rhode Island, and Massachusetts. In Michigan, the unemployment rate is now 5.5%. Also, $46.7 million has been released to restart the Palisades nuclear facility. Mississippi Governor Tate Reeves declared April 2025 as Confederate Heritage Month. He waited until more than half of the month was over before the proclamation was made. Read into that however you want. A Montana judge extended the temporary restraining order stopping enforcement of the state's trans bathroom bill. A teen has been charged in connection with the massive wildfire in New Jersey. New Mexico oil drillers are worried they won't make it through the Trump years as the industry starts to see signs of his trade war driving down demand. North Carolina's health officials are saying Mpox was found in the state's wastewater. They say risk to the public is currently low. Ohio is concerned over the possibility of Intel laying off up to 20% of their staff. The governor is trying to reassure people in the state and is saying that no company will invest as much as Intel has and then just walk away. And here's your weird state fact for this week. In Rose Hill, North Carolina, the U.S. has its largest frying pan. It's 15 feet across, weighs 2 tons, needs 200 gallons of cooking oil, and can cook 365 chickens at one time. Here's the weird part. They actually cook with it every once in a while. A review I found online said it is, quote, less visually satisfying than other giant frying pans. I was today years old when I learned that giant frying pans get rated. Okay, so moving on to the question and answer portion of the show. Question number 1. Dearest Team Bell, I hope you're all eating a good breakfast and staying hydrated. My question today is about primaries. We keep hearing that Republicans are afraid of Trump because he's promised to primary them if they don't accommodate his every whim. I completely understand what that means, but I'm a little fuzzy on exactly who can and cannot initiate a primary and when. Can you shed some light on this? I can't be the only person curious about it. So, primaries occur before most elections. What Trump really means is that he will throw his support behind the person's opponent and help them raise money, which realistically will become a pointless threat after the midterms when Trump becomes a lame duck. Question number 2. Would it be possible to have a good news segment? Maybe a Roads to Some Good News episode? We've thought about figuring out how to include that, but it normally turns into the whole orphan crushing machine thing. If you're not familiar with the idea, it's that buried in most pieces of good news is a hidden indictment of the system. An example would be students selling lemonade for their teacher's cancer treatment. The real story is the lack of health care and how we value education so little in this country that we don't take care of our teachers. It's really hard for us to turn off the drive to look at the systemic issue underlying the good news. Believe me, this is something we've looked into. Question number 3. Why is the housing market stalling? Economic uncertainty spreads through all markets eventually. The uncertainty caused by Trump's policies is moving into other markets. It also doesn't help that the anticipated inflation is keeping interest rates high, which makes it more expensive to finance a home. Okay, that looks like it. We'll see you next week for another trip. Y'all have a good day.